Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I am Zach Falk, and today I will be your host. This episode is going to focus primarily on relationships and specifically how they impact absolutely everything that we do. It doesn't take a lot of years of living on this earth to realize just that. Family, church, business, friendships, doesn't matter where we are, relationships are what life is all about. So as a loan officer for Black Diamond Mortgage, I get the wonderful opportunity to know thousands of people as I interface with them throughout the day. All of these people of which are living in and enjoying our great state of Montana. So today I have the privilege and the honor to interview those who I have personally termed as a local powerhouse couple. John Devine and Kelly Thomas. Welcome, guys. Say hi to our audience.
What's up, bro? Thanks for having us.
Hey, so glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad you guys are here. We've got really good content coming up. So John and Kelly are friends of mine and also clients. So we have a really cool relationship. It's kind of budded more so over the last 6 to 9 months. However, one thing that I think really kind of sets the tone for today that I like so much about John and Kelly is where I met them. So in December of 2020, there was a marketing event that, how dare you do a marketing event in December of 2020 because of something that had happened in March of 2020. We're just going to move on past that. But John and Kelly decided that people need people, and that is what business, marketing, and life is about. And so they organized a marketing event specifically designed toward business owners and entrepreneurs and like-minded individuals. And we got together, and that's where I got to meet them. And I was immediately impressed just with the way that I could tell that they cared about people. That's really what stood out to me when I first met you guys. And that's kind of what created the draw to continue the relationship. And then, of course, earlier this year, you guys were looking to get into the housing market, which so happens to be an area that I excel in. So that worked out. That worked out good. And so now you guys are homeowners, which is really, really, really cool. And I was privileged to have the opportunity to help you with that. So let's go ahead and dig in the meat for today. So we got some good questions and topics to talk about. But John, I want to start with you. Can you kind of tell our audience a little bit about your background, primarily as it relates to business? What are you doing? What is Divinity Group? How does that relate? And just give us an intro on yourself.
Yeah, man. So my name is John. Obviously, I'm the CEO, president of a local supplemental insurance agency called Divinity Group. And we are the agency, the middleman between our clients and Globe Life Family Heritage Division, which is our parent agency that we sell insurance for. It is hands down the best insurance product, I think, on the market. That's why I got into it. And I'm somebody that has to own their own thing and be able to do what they want, when they want, what they want, go where they want. And so I needed a company that supported that role. And Globe Life was looking for either people who just wanted to sell the product, which is what I did for 2 years, or people that wanted to build agencies, which is what we started doing in March of 2020. Literally, we were decorating our office. We bought furniture on a Thursday at half off day at the thrift store. We went back on Saturday to buy furniture, and the store was locked, shut down, and we had just got the office. And I was like, what did we do? What did we do?
So begins the new step of the journey.
Yeah, man. When you're already in it, you just... You either got to pull the sails up, look for some wind, or, just be good being stuck out in the ocean. So we got to work, and, that's when I pulled Kelly into the business, with her background in marketing and all that. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to build it alone. I was going to need somebody to help me be the face of the business, be interacting with people, marketing, building our online presence. So, naturally it just came to bringing Kelly into the picture as well. But yeah, I grew up different than most. And so at 11 years old, there was a local horse arena, and they had 50 stalls. And I found out that she would pay kids to come and shovel those stalls after she would do shows. And so I realized at a very young age, like, oh, you can go and do a job X, and if you can get it done in less time, your dollar per hour value is actually higher. So I was really 11 when I learned that. I got that job. She was paying me $2 a stall, 50 stalls. That's $100 on a Sunday.
Did someone teach you that, or did that just click in your head as 11 years old?
Without getting too deep into it, my mom was a, let's say, con artist, and she was very good at flipping money.
Sure.
Or getting one person to give her X. And so at a young age, I saw somebody being able to like sell stuff or whatever and like turn money that way. And she never really had a job. So I never had like an actual example of a parent that woke up and went to work every day.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
then when I found this, I was like, oh, it's available for kids too. Sweet. Right. And so I was doing that. And then I got a job basically doing jobs for a woman who ran a salon. And so she would just have me come and do one-off jobs that she would pay me for. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. And then I won my first national championship as a martial artist when I was 14. And all of a sudden I came back from that tournament, and all the other parents of all the other kids wanted to pay me to train their kids. And at the time, I was working for a buddy's uncle who owned a pizza shop. And so I was going and washing dishes like 3-4 nights a week, making like $7.50 an hour or something. And then all of a sudden, I had parents offering me $20-$40 an hour to fight with their kid, which is what I was doing for my passion and my fun. And I was like, whoa, this is way better. And so from 14 until like 18, I did that. And then joined the Army because I needed an out. I dropped out of high school, ran away from home, and I didn't have any direction. Mm-hmm. And so I had to get somewhere where I could get some direction because I was trying to apply for better jobs.
J-O-B.
And no one would hire me because I was this 16, 17-year-old dropout. And they're like, well, what happened? Are you going to go get a GED? And I had no plan. So the Army it was. Did that for 4 years, deployed to Afghanistan in 2012. Was over there for a year, got back in 2013 and got out as soon as I could. I was like, to go from being able to do what you want, drop out of high school, to like, you will be here wearing this with this haircut at this time. You're not going to drink on your 21st birthday. You're not, like, all this stuff. So I was like, okay, hard left again. And as soon as I got out of the military, I went and got my personal training license and started Devine Fitness. And so I just knew at 21, after spending 4 years in the military, I'm not working for anybody else ever again. Like, I don't care how hard it is. As long as I get to do what I want, where I want, when I want, that is worth way more than any paycheck.
Thanks, John. That's good to hear from you. I appreciate the context for our listeners. Let's shift over and hear from you, Kelly. What is your background and what gets you excited about Divinity Group?
Yes. So humans.
Humans.
I love that this is about relationships.
Yeah.
People are my favorite. I thought everyone liked humans. I'm wrong. I've learned.
Then she married me.
Totally. So I do have a extensive background in network marketing, and then I also learned social media marketing through the education of YouTube and Google. So a forever student, because that is a forever changing platform to learn. So I have been a business owner of my own marketing business before, and then I went back and was an employee for a little while.
Did you have a similar experience that John had, going from helping kids learn martial arts to super structured military to freedom?
0% alike.
Great
we are
answer.
so
We got to
opposite.
explore that. Okay, keep going. This is good.
Totally opposite. But I found out that I'm somewhere in between an entrepreneur and a employee. So freedom of being myself, and this part is similar. Freedom of showing up how I want, wearing what I want, when I want. I do not like being told what to do. So that is a similarity. The rest is opposite. I even have the word free tattooed on me. It's pretty important. So I was an employee when I got furloughed in 2020, and that's when I joined John in the business. And so I did try to talk him out of doing insurance a few times. I was like, that is not sexy. That is not fun. Like,
you're not wrong. Like, you don't think of what is the coolest thing you could do. Insurance. Yeah. Like, that doesn't, so that's good. So
mortgages. We're in the same boat, bro.
Where's my cool button, right? Like, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Okay, so, but let's explore that for a second. So you tried to talk John out of insurance. Why did he win?
Long-term vision.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so when I got furloughed 2020, then I joined him in the business, and I said, we need a new office space. I'm going to build the website. I'm going to build the social. And so I shortly after became the CMO. For most people don't know what that is a chief marketing officer.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Most people in Montana don't know what that is.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Thank you. Yes, totally. And then pretty soon our business doubled when John brought him a lot of more team members, and sales doubled because there was just a team counting on you now. And yeah, working together is so many pros and so many cons, but it is a dream.
I would say too that, yeah, long-term vision is part of why I won, but the second part of why I won is people and relationships. At the time, I was not killing it like I was doing. It's like sales anywhere, right? You got 20% of the people that make 80% of the money. And at the time, I was in the 80% of the people making 20% of the money. And I was helping Kelly at an earlier date build a marketing company, and I was helping another friend build a tattoo business, and I was helping another friend build a supplement company. And so I was super spread thin, super unfocused, but I had been on a couple incentive trips. Kelly hadn't. And I had met some of the higher ups and like met some of the people who were running this company and some of the other agents. And so I just told her, like, look, I've talked to some of the people who've been here a long time. The opportunity is unreal. Like, if we buckle down, plus the people here are unbelievable. I just got to get you on a trip. And then when we partnered up, then she went on her first trip, and now it's your favorite part of the business, right?
Will work for travel.
Will work for travel. It's a good hashtag. Yes. No. Okay. So that's a good thing. You guys both touched on it again. You mentioned the people aspect of things, which is what we're really digging into. So let's talk briefly about what kind of insurance you sell. I think that perhaps that's a myth for some people listening. What is it? Why do people need it? So here's your chance to give a little pitch, right? But integrate for me the people aspect, because I know it's in there.
That is another reason actually why I joined, is a testimonial. So of someone that we helped. You can tell about what we do, and then I'll share about what really connected me.
Yeah, so what we do and how we do it. So we are a supplemental insurance agency, but we structure our business more like a financial product than an insurance product. And so we take our clients' premiums and we invest them. And then if anything ever happens to you, basically you have a limitless fund that is going to go into your bank account, because a lot of people that have full coverage health insurance, or people that don't have health insurance or whatever, they get very, very confused on the fact that they have full coverage. And the honest truth is that in this country, 93% of all bankruptcies are personal, not corporate. And of those 93%, 66% of those are all medical. But medical bankruptcy doesn't really exist. It's like a mortgage. Mm-hmm. If I owe this giant sum of money, it doesn't mean I'm bankrupt. It means I have to set up a minimum payment, and I have to agree to make that payment every month. If I make that payment every month, they can never come after me for medical bankruptcy. But what happens is you end up in the hospital because you're fighting cancer. You're in the hospital for a year, which means you're without income for a year. Typically, when that happens, the spouse doesn't go keep working. They try to take off work to be by the other spouse's bedside. So now you've lost two incomes. Mm-hmm. You're living on your savings. 69% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings account. Wow. And so when something goes sideways, the first thing isn't, oh, my medical bills are covered. It's 30 days later, the mortgage is due, rent is due, the car payment is due, you have no income, you blew through your savings on week one, and now you're going, well, what do I do? and you miss a couple of payments, and then you go, I have to claim medical bankruptcy. So you're only claiming medical bankruptcy because you don't have an income, and the mortgage company and the car company, they don't care that you have cancer. They need their monthly payment. So what we do is when you're in the hospital, the medical insurance pays the doctors. We funnel tax-free cash directly to you. You use that money for whatever you want, your copays, your deductibles, your coinsurance, travel, food, childcare, Netflix, car payments, more. It doesn't matter. It's your money. Spend it wherever you want. And then if you never, ever have to go through anything, the thing that makes us different is we have 100% return of premium. So it doubles as a savings account. You get all your money back if you stay healthy. So I just say that we're cash when you need it or your money back if you don't. That's all we do is we help you fund your lifestyle when you're stuck in the hospital. And what brought Kelly here is a client of mine, Amy, who she was our first big claim. It was like 2.5 years into the business right before she came on board. And we had her come do a testimony video for us that I use every single day. And her husband slipped and fell, dual income, elderly family, 60. And all of a sudden he was out of work. He was put in a turtle shell for a broken back. They were out of work. He was out of work for 5 months on a dual income. That would have busted their bank, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we kept him afloat, and then Kelly kind of started paying a little more attention to how our product was impacting the actual policyholders.
That makes sense. Just to clarify something, I am in mortgages, but I do care about you guys. John said, I don't care if you have cancer, but I do care if that happens to you. But
not the broker that wrote the deal, the company that you owe the money to.
No, you're 100% correct. I just was taking an opportunity for humor because, why not, right? But no, that's a good story. And I like, too, that that ties in very closely with what I do and how I conduct my business. And just the policy holder for you is a lot like what we refer to as the borrower for me. And the best interest of that policyholder, of that borrower, is ultimately what we, the three of us, do on a daily basis. And that's why the relationships piece are really, really cool. Okay, so you guys have employees, I'm guessing. How does that work? Do you have a team? I think you guys mentioned a team.
So we have a team of independent contractors.
Okay, yep.
No employees. Even if... So me, I guess.
You're even an independent contractor.
Yeah, I don't know. I do my own thing.
That's what that means.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know if we will hire employees ever, actually, because we have that just a different mindset of everything should be on commission.
Sure. No, I love it because that's incentive-based work, and incentive-based work weeds out people that shouldn't be there and elevates people that should be there. So I love that philosophy.
And so does an insurance license.
Yeah, in the mortgage business, we have renewals. So you have to renew your license every year. And it's oftentimes a telltale sign if you have somebody who maybe didn't have a good year. Sometimes after the renewal period, they may choose to go do something else. And so sounds similar for you guys. So how about working together? I want to get in on that a little bit because we're talking about relationships and you guys are in a relationship and you work together. So before I do that, my wife and I owned a restaurant in town with my dad, the three of us. We had Split Rock Cafe from January of 16 through December of 18. So interestingly enough, we closed on the restaurant about 3 weeks after Maggie and I got married. That was interesting. But it was fun because we got to work together and kind of learn quite a bit about each other just through sometimes when things aren't going great and how we both respond to stress and how we, when we need to be supported and when we need to be left alone. All those things fit in. I'm sure you're both shaking your heads. You know what I'm talking about. So explain how you guys manage that together and why it works.
You want to go first or me?
Let's start with Kelly.
The pros are equal to the cons sometimes.
Honesty.
I'm kidding.
No, hey, honesty. We're in a safe place here. You can be honest.
We literally just did a podcast episode about this, and the pros was 10 times the cons list.
I know. That's why I wanted you to react. That's why.
Short memory.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. I can't imagine doing something else with anyone else. We are very opposite, like I mentioned. John goes towards conflict, and I run as fast as I can away from conflict. And so that is something that I am learning about myself. It does expose things that maybe you're not aware of in your relationship. But the freedom, incredible. The like even day-to-day freedom, as well as like every week, every month, we plan our schedule, we plan our lives, rather than planning around someone else's schedule for us. Yes, the travel, amazing.
Yes.
We've been all around the world together, and that is a very you learn so much about someone when you travel together.
Yes.
In a good way, in a wonderful way.
And then if you add kids in that, which I know you guys have kids, then you learn even more about traveling with a spouse, because that's always fun. Mm-hmm. It is fun, but there are challenges that go with it.
In about 2 weeks, we're going to Puerto Rico with the kids. And so, yes.
Are you already packing?
Mentally, yes.
Yes,
mentally,
exactly.
I'm there.
Yeah. You understand me. That's great. I love it. Okay, how about from you? What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a big boundaries guy. So whether you're in a friendship with me or a relationship with me or in a business relationship with me where you're one of my agents or one of my trainers or you're my spouse / business partner or whatever, I'm very, very, very big on boundaries, because then it either lets the person know, like, I don't want to do this. This is ridiculous. These requests, these things that you want. Okay, cool. Then this is obviously not going to work because this is what I need. And then on the flip side, it's like, okay, this is what I need to be successful. What do you need to be successful? This, okay, what is your role? Okay, so what falls into your role? All of these things. Okay, so you get final decision making on all of these things. Like if we end up in a discussion about marketing, she gets the final say, right? She's the chief marketing officer. Unless that decision is like, we're going to give $1,000 in marketing over here, or $2,000 in marketing over here, and there's a pros, cons, or whatever. If there's finances involved, that'll probably come back to my side of the table, right? So it's just really, really clear, defined lanes, so that if someone else is talking, you can have that discussion, you can have that meeting, whatever. But at the end, whoever's in charge of that department gets final say, and your job is to support your spouse / business partner in whatever they think is the best direction to take their division of the company. Right. So I really love it if I can text her and be like, yo, go grab the kids or whatever. Or like she texted me on the way to this podcast and was like, in our office building, the breaker's in our office, and one of our friends that does our apparel rents an office, and she blew a breaker and she needed to get in. So we're able to be like, yo, go flip the breaker, get this done. And so we can just communicate all day long and solve problems all day long. And it's not like, well, I can't, I'm at work, or I'll do that tomorrow because I don't get off until here. And that, like the freedom and flexibility of schedule, like she said, it gives you so much more power and so much more time leverage. And like, we're going to go hang out with her family. We didn't have to ask for any time off. She was sick for the last like 4 days last week. She didn't have to ask for time off. Yeah. She could work from the couch. She didn't, right? So it's just like, it's seamless business once you get your flow.
Mm-hmm. No, it's well said. To add some color to it, I didn't warn you guys about this ahead of time. Can you tell me a story about the most stressful scenario the two of you were in together?
Yes.
Okay.
You weren't even finished with the question.
Yes. Then
that was fast.
I'm
curious to see what she thinks it was.
Now I'm getting sweaty. So I'm just all worked up. So I am also a licensed agent. Your face is still shocked. Okay. So
insurance agent, correct?
I was a licensed insurance agent. John was my trainer.
You still are.
John at this time was my trainer. It became a weird, in my head, competition between us as doing the same job in the same town on commission sales. John had a phenomenal week and I did not, but it was with one of my warm market leads that he had a phenomenal week with. And so he was training me at this time, and it became a large conflict in my head, so I was avoiding it. And so we went out naturally.
We just talked about that. Yep, makes sense.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we were going out to dinner to celebrate John's amazing week. We didn't even make it in the restaurant because we were arguing so much in the car. We were like, there was just hurt feelings. There was misunderstandings. There was just so much going on. I'm sure he has his own version of this story. He was doing his job and I was making it emotional. And so that part, when he was my trainer, there was a lot of ego involved on my end. And that was very difficult for me to learn from him. And I've tried to learn from him in the gym before. It's a me thing. It's definitely a Kelly thing, because he's a licensed personal trainer. Like that was his whole job. And so that part, learning from each other when you're not in being a beginner, when your spouse is an expert, for me, that's difficult.
John, your version? Or maybe you have a different story that Kelly would like to know.
Yeah.
I probably do have a different story. That version of that story, it's pretty much the same. Since we're talking about relationships, when Kelly came here to market, it's a complex product. Even if you know supplemental insurance, we're the only one on the market that does what we do. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, if you're going to market our product, how are you going to market it? And she couldn't really even tell me, right? Because she didn't know anything about it. I was like, so basically you want me to market the product and you want to make posts. Like, you need to come sell this product. You need to learn it. You need to know it. You need to get licensed inside and out. Once you know it, sure, if you never want to sell again, fine. But I promised her if she actually learned how to sell, she would blow me and every other agent in the nation out of the water, because she's so good at relationship building and people just trust her with everything, whether we're in the grocery store line or at the bank or what. She just starts talking to people, and then 10 minutes later, she's like, oh, yeah, I know that woman's adopted daughter whose birthday is next week, but she lives in Indiana. And I'm like, how did you get all that information in the last 8 minutes?
And remember it.
Right.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like to close people. And so she just wasn't following up with one of her warm leads that I knew was a buyer. And I was like, dude, stay on top. And she was finally like, if you think you can do it, do it. And so I went in there and did it and crushed it. And she was pissed. So that's
so happy for my friend.
So that's my version of the story.
That's great.
Yeah. That was one of our worst for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's good. So I resonate with what you guys are. So actually, let me back up and ask a question first. Extroverted or introverted? Kelly?
Extroverted.
John? Oh, tricky to answer.
In my truest form, introverted.
Okay.
But I am a hard trained ambivert.
Yep, I'm familiar.
I've literally had to learn how to be extroverted to throw parties like the one that we met at, to be a salesman, to do marketing, to be on the commercials that I'm on with Clark Nissan, right? Like, I know that being an extrovert has all this stuff that I want.
Got it.
But I'm actually an introvert.
Okay. The reason I ask is that something you said stuck out to me with Maggie and I, because, again, relationships, right? She and I are both extroverted and extremely so. And so where the interesting thing would come into play when we owned our restaurant was who was going to deal with the people. We're both okay with conflict. I'm a little bit more of a runner than she is. So I'm a little bit more like you, but not quite to the same level. Mm-hmm. And she's not quite to the same level where she goes and finds conflict. But the point is it was interesting because we both, the customer interaction was our favorite part for both of us. And there are times where, I'm sure you guys have seen this, that too much customer interaction from two different people to the same customer can create confusion in that customer's mind.
Yep. 100%.
Which is odd, because you would think, well, the more attention we're giving you, the better the solution should be, right? The better the experience should be. It doesn't always work that way, because what other people develop a relationship with you and might, believe it or not, have a preference of who they talk to.
Rude.
And I know, but that gets into what you're saying, where it's okay, I'm going to lower myself here and be like, okay, John Smith doesn't like to talk to me, but he likes to talk to Maggie. Okay, great. And then meanwhile, I'm like, oh my gosh. And you're like, but that's just okay. And so that's the relationship piece. And I like to hear you guys kind of explain how you can go back and forth with each other's skill sets, because that requires a lot of selflessness, which is a key component of a successful relationship.
John, do you have any experience with that, of anyone preferring me over you?
Almost everyone. And I'm like, sweet, John Smith doesn't like me. One less person I got to talk to today. Like
See,
I said,
that's why the introvert extrovert works.
Yeah.
You're like, cool.
And like I said earlier, like I'm not a big people person when it comes to people as a whole, as a gathering. I like individual people, but when you put them all in a group and put them in a tight room or something together, I'm like, get me out of here. I can like, it's too much. And so when people are like, where's Kelly? I'm like, text her. Have fun.
Yeah, exactly. That brings up a good point, though. You talked about how you like individual relationships. I think you probably like more the group setting.
I like it all.
But you like it all. Okay, great. So what do you find as being the most effective marketing tools for your business and the type of product you sell that's really designed to serve people and designed ultimately for their well-being? So what's customer acquisition look like for you guys? Does it look like marketing events? Does it look like one-on-one appointments? Kind of walk me through that.
Well, all of it is in-person works best, face-to-face. I do online focus on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not trying to be everywhere all of the time. I just stay hyper-focused. But then that leads to networking events and stuff like that, but still in person. And John does all of his business in person. And so that was a little tricky when we couldn't walk into businesses.
Yeah.
But John's a survivalist and he adjusted and thrived.
And that trait led to the December 2020 meeting, correct? That's what ultimately drove it. Yeah. Were you making those decisions because you needed the business or because you wanted the business? Where did that come from?
So I'm a yes man if it lines up, right? Like if I look at it and there's no like reason not to do it, then let's do it. And the whole December thing was actually an accident that completely pisses me off.
That is funny. Please tell me more.
Yeah. So Kelly was a brand new licensed agent, and when you're in your beginning of your training, you spend most of your time in your first couple of weeks following me or one of my other experienced agents so that you can just see someone else do the job, right? So that you're not out there alone being like, is this how a cold call is supposed to go? So she's supposed to meet me at this chiropractic office right next door to Water's Edge for a group presentation. I get there, she's not there. So then I'm like trying to chop it up with them and like burn time. But like 10 minutes goes by and they're like, okay, can we get started? And I'm like, so we get started. I start, then Kelly walks in like halfway through the presentation. I'm late, sorry. Meets everyone, derails the whole thing. Nobody signs up. Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. That exact reaction.
Keep going.
So I'm like, dude, I am so hot because I'm like, you're my wife. I can't even like be like, what do you do? This is not, I'm like, whatever. So then she's like, we go to leave. She's like, oh, well, here's why I was late. See that winery next door? I walked in there by accident instead, and we really need to go in there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? 2:00 on a Tuesday, you just blew up one of my groups, got no clients, and you want to go hang out in a winery? Are you out of your mind?
It was where we needed to be. Intuition told me.
Keep going, because I think she's got a point.
It was the people. She was drawn to Angela and this little hustle bustle that she had going on in there. She's like, she's a new business owner. She had just started in August. I think this is like October. And so I'm in there. I'm like, whatever. I get a glass of wine. I'm like, maybe that'll cool me down. I have some lunch, whatever. I meet Angela and Trevor, and she's really nice. She's like, oh, yeah. She finds out what we do. She's like, you should come back and talk to me about that. I was like, all right. So we go back. We talk to her about it. She buys insurance. Annoying. She buys the insurance, so that gets us a client in the same place where we lost potential clients. And then...
Oh, the irony.
I know. And then while we're signing her up, she goes, what are you guys doing for networking? And again, we're in October-ish, November-ish of 2020. And I just start laughing. I'm like, are you out of your mind, bro? What are you, networking? You know
Nobody
what's going
does
on,
that.
right?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but I came down here in August. I'm paying to be a member of the chamber, all 3 chambers. I'm paying like this biz-to-biz membership, all these different memberships at all these different networking groups, and none of them are doing networking.
And she moved from Canada. She didn't know a soul.
And she owns a
my
winery.
goodness.
If she can't bring new people in, or she can't go tell people to come into her winery, there's no sales. And so I'm looking around and I was like, I mean, you have a winery. We know a ton of the big business players here. They're all probably hungry for networking. So I pulled out my phone, Googled what is the regulation for a private party. And this was the crazy part. She had to be at 50% capacity when the restaurant was open to the public in business hours. We could have a private party of up to 500 people.
I don't know what to say. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So I was like, let's just not do 500. Let's do like 50 or 100, something like that. Let's make it a private event, which is where the exclusive part of it came from. And then we had been to so many networking groups, and I'll let her talk on that more. But for me personally, when I first got here, I was networking. I joined all the groups. I was hustling, just networking, trying to get people to know me. But then I'd get all these business cards at all these networking events, and I'd go to follow up.
Nothing.
Nobody wanted to do business. And I was like,
Hang on. What? This is what happened
yeah,
when you tried to follow up.
straight crickets, bro. Or like, oh, I don't handle that. That's my boss. That's my whatever. And I just got so annoyed. And so the point that I pushed home, I was like, we can do whatever, but if I'm going to be involved in this, we are inviting CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, independent contractors, like real hustlers that are actually hurting to grow their business and make sales.
And who also happen to be our ideal clients.
Yeah, that too. But for me, I was like, I don't want you coming to my business networking event if you're not trying to do business.
Sure.
But I guess what was your whole point of view on the event and why we started it? And
Yeah, you definitely started it and I evolved it.
Okay.
Most things.
You need a visionary and you need an
Execution.
Well, that just sounds weird. Execution. I don't
Sure,
think
you
that's
could go with that.
executioner. Anyway, you get the point. Keep going.
And so we did one party that was our like business anniversary, and it was a black and white party. And so everybody to show up in black and white. Everybody had so much fun. They told me they had so much fun at least. And so I was like, we do theme parties now. These are themes. These are different.
There's the evolution, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is different than anyone else is doing, and it's exclusive. You have to buy a ticket. John evolved it to where we support a nonprofit each time. Then we get a sponsor for each time, and so it grew, and it was phenomenal. And then, like any group project, it fell onto a few of the members.
You?
Totally, but that's part of my job for sure. And so, it grew into exactly what it was supposed to be. It was so much fun. And I was on, we did it for how many times?
2 years, 15 events.
Yeah. So the first year we did it monthly, every month. It was exhausting,
Yeah.
but wonderful. Like I don't drink, but I would have a full hangover.
Because of how much fun you had. A fun hangover.
Yeah.
A fun over.
A fun over.
Sorry, I'm a dad, so I
That's
have
good.
license to have dad jokes in my back pocket. So.
And then we did, after that, the chamber started doing networking events again. And so we went to quarterly instead of every month.
Makes sense.
And then I was on pre-burnout mode from the partying. And so I was like, I think we're on a good ending point.
Good.
But it was the main amount of people and quality of people that we met, phenomenal.
Yeah, and like to go to the relationship side of it, I was like, yeah, we can all grow business, and it helped us grow our business. We made a lot of sales, a lot of business relationships. We didn't personally make any money in those 15. That was never the point. We tipped Angela's girls well. We bought decorations, and we gave the rest to a nonprofit event, or the nonprofit that was involved. But through that, we raised over $27,000 for local nonprofits in that 2-year time.
That's awesome.
So that
You should be proud of that.
that's what it was for me.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, that's the people piece that we're hitting at, is that So you take a group, you take some people, and you put them together to talk to other people to support other people. Like, there you go. How beautiful can that be?
I got
right?
goosebumps when you said that. I was like, that's what it's all about.
It is. Seriously, though. I'm really glad. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. And what I would like you guys to do is leave the audience with some encouragement. I think there's a lot of fear around starting your own business, doing your own thing. But we've kind of exposed today that you really can have the most impact on what you want to have an impact on when you're the one in control. And oftentimes that requires doing your own thing. So just provide some encouragement to people that maybe are on the fence and explain why, briefly, it makes the most sense to do what you guys are doing.
I would say follow your intuition, as you found out from that story. Like, you're exactly where you need to be. And so it's only your journey. So if you just keep moving forward, it's yours. You're not on a wrong path or a wrong timeline. So just keep following yourself, not what other people are telling you what you should be doing. Ugh, that word is nasty. So, and be open to learning from other people, even if it is your spouse.
Yeah.
That's something I have had to overcome and learn, to be willing to be a beginner, willing to be vulnerable, and just be a forever student of there's always something to learn. There's always something to evolve. And don't be afraid to talk to strangers at networking events. Always, I would say, lead with a compliment. If you ever think a compliment, never hold it back. That starts so many of my phenomenal relationships.
That's great advice. Thank you. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to make one that is a little bit more layered. As far as business goes, like you mentioned, a lot of it is fear, right? Like, oh, no one taught me how to do that. I don't know. Trust me, I know that's one of my biggest frustrations. That's what I'm trying to do with the Healthy Wealthy People podcast and my business is teach people that it's actually really, really, really easy. If you have an idea, if you have a passion, if you have something, if you're just tired of being told what to do and where to do it and when to show up, like, literally come up with something. We're in 2022, going into 2023. There's literally hundreds of millions of ways to make money. Like, you can go to garage sales and flip it. You can go to thrift stores and flip it. You can get an app on your phone, scan stuff that's on sale at Walmart, sell it on Amazon. You can drop ship. You can start your own business and do an LLC for like $75. Like, it's not that hard. You're just undereducated. Kelly said that she's got a PhD in Google and YouTube. True. I'm a high school dropout, right? Like, the information is out there. You're spending your time scrolling on a phone instead of actually doing digging research. Go dig into how to start a business. Reach out to me. Reach out to a local business person. Go to the Chamber of Commerce. Ask for direction. Go on YouTube. Like, dig, and you'll find something. And you'll be like, oh, I could probably do that. And then just start. I didn't know how to run a podcast. I didn't have any of the podcast equipment at the beginning of this year. We now have a podcast with 10 episodes that local people are coming on. It's 5-star rated. People are sharing it like crazy, right? We just start the boulder rolling. And so number one thing I can say is just like, if you feel it inside of you, that didn't come from nowhere, right? Follow that, chase it down, get the education, and then just start doing. You didn't know how to walk. You didn't know how to talk. You didn't know how to eat. You didn't know how to do any of the stuff that you know how to do today. Someone taught you. You've just gotten lost because there's not somebody there teaching you actively every day. You have to be your own teacher. And if you do, then you can write whatever check you want to write. Kelly and I don't have worries about money, travel, safety, where we're anymore. Took us 5 years, but we figured it out, and now we're in a partnership where she runs the part of the business that she's good at. I run the part of the business that I'm good at, and we learn every day. Like the story she told, we get in fights, we have hiccups, and then we sit and we go, what happened? What do we do? What can we do better next time, right? So number one is decide. Number two, educate yourself. And then number three, man, birds of a feather flock together. If you're talking about all this stuff and the people in your corner are going, you're dumb, that'll never work, how you going to make money, you're in the wrong group, dude. Whatever dream you have is never going to come true. you need to go find some like-minded individuals at networking events, at things like that, social media, this podcast, right? Reach out, say, hey, I'm new, but I want to learn. The biggest thing I need is some good people in my corner. So those would be my 3 things. If you're looking to start a business, man, it is super easy if you surround yourself with the right people. So find a new flock, yo.
I think that's outstanding. And I only want to call attention to one additional component is you said it took you 5 years. And I think that's really important for people to understand. You can't have a vision and then expect to wake up the next morning and have it be reality. It takes time and it takes energy, and it probably takes failure. So if the idea that you have one time doesn't materialize, then maybe you should go get a different idea. And if that doesn't materialize, maybe you should get a different idea, right? And so it goes on and on. So the encouragement is utilize relationships. John and Kelly are good friends of mine, and we talk about these things. Speaking of having people in your corner who are interested in pursuing business and finance and relationships and just a good community reputation, I mean, it's right here. And so make sure that those are your focuses, and things are going to be a lot of fun because relationships are fun. So John, Kelly, thank you both. I appreciate you very much. And see you guys.
See ya. Thanks for having us on, bro.